So welcome to our Mind the Moments Tuesday morning mindfulness gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how to incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and I'm very happy to be here on every Thursday with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Suzanne. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Nice to have you here this morning. And as usual, today we'll start off with a question for the group, and then Tara will lead us in a guided practice. And after that, we'll have time for some comments and some questions. So you could go ahead and open up the chat at the bottom of the screen as we begin. And you can click on panelists and attendees if you want to go ahead and see the comments and questions, excuse me, as they come in real time.
All right.
So just open that up and then you'll be ready to go. So Tara, what was the question we wanted to start with?
Yeah, well, I was thinking we're officially in summer at this point, and just with this gorgeous weather yesterday and today, I was thinking, of seeing and being with all of you this morning and wondering if you would share a summer plan. So it could be something you've already done or something that you're anticipating or looking forward to. And yeah, so that's it. And Suzanne, let's start with you. I'm curious if you have a plan this summer, or if you've already done something that you want to share, or, if there are a few things on your plate that you want to be sure to do this summer. I thought it would be interesting to just kind of chat in that way.
Yeah, so my family went to Martha's Vineyard before Memorial Day, which it's been hard to book a lot of trips,
Yes.
and for a reasonable cost these days.
Right.
Before Memorial Day, and my husband and I will likely try to go back in September. The rest of our summer is not too much planned, but just a lot of outdoor time and hopes to get to the beach a couple of days.
Nice.
How about you?
Very nice. So, one of the things that I have been wanting to do is go to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. And, I've wanted to do that for years. And then they had that documentary about the art heist, and I saw that, and that sort of piqued my interest. And so I've been talking to family about just like carving out time to just go and do it. It's so close and have never been. People love it, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then planning a trip to Vermont to spend a week up by Stowe. But then, otherwise, just I really want to be outside a lot this summer, and really glad that things are starting to open up at least a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree.
But I want to see what people are saying too. Traveling, camping, planting, paddleboarding, nice. Van Gogh, yeah. Redo my deck, yeah. Like things have to be done too, and this is a good time of year to do it too. So
yoga. That sounds
yeah.
fun.
That is funny. I don't think I've ever seen goat yoga.
Yeah, I've heard that's kind of a thing.
Yeah. Whale watching. Wow, took a train from Maine to Virginia.
Oh, that sounds
weddings. Yeah. Well, I think this summer is going to be very different than last summer. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I am approaching it cautiously optimistic and still a little wary about, kind of being in restaurants and being in crowded places, but I feel more comfortable and, we'll mask as needed. So yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and thanks to everybody. Let's go ahead and move into a practice this morning. And so what I was thinking is of doing choiceless awareness, or more kind of open, spacious awareness, as opposed to a more narrow focus. And always, if for any reason doing the open awareness practice doesn't feel like it's working for you, you can go to a different anchor, a more, a body sensation such as breath, or palms of the hands on the thighs, or even on a desk in front of you, and just feel that point of contact. So, but I thought that I would do open awareness this morning as a way to start, and that'll be our practice. So settle in, body in a position that feels like it's going to serve you best today. So you could stand or you could remain seated. Eyes, as always, open or closed. And take a moment to just check in with the body. So whether you're standing or you're seated, noticing how you're holding yourself, aware that you're sitting or standing. Letting go of all that has happened so far today, releasing anticipation of what's to come. So bringing the mind and the body together with a spine that is straight but not stiff. And holding yourself in an engaged, alert way, yet also with ease, and just to the degree that you can bring ease in. And with awareness over the whole body, kind of scanning your attention through the body in whatever way you'd like. You could start at the top of the head and go to the feet, or you could go from the feet upward. But essentially, just looking for areas that you might be holding, and see if you can soften those areas a bit. Could be the area around the eyes or the jaw, the shoulders. Just see if you're able to soften just to the degree that you can. So just simply always taking a moment to prep the body. Notice tingling or vibration or points of contact, perhaps temperature. Notice the rhythm of your breath. And begin to open the sense of awareness to include sound in the room that you're in, or perhaps outside of the room. And we'll continue for the remainder of the practice, if this feels like you're able to connect with it this morning, to just maintain that kind of open, spacious awareness. And so receiving the arising of thought, emotion, and body sensation as it comes and goes, including sound. And each time you find yourself in thought, just simply notice, make a mental note, thinking, and then open back up to receiving the experience of thoughts, emotions, body sensations, and sound. And noticing where the mind is, and returning to open, spacious, receptive awareness. Noticing where the mind is, reconnecting with receiving open, spacious awareness of thought, emotion, body sensation, sound. Again, noticing where the mind is. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected. And our bodies healthy and strong. And we wish the same for all of those known and unknown to us. And counting back, 3, 2, and 1. As you're ready, if your eyes were closed, open the eyes and take a moment to reacquaint with the room and with each other, and maybe take a minute to stretch a little. So one thing that I wanted to share, because I thought this was interesting. I was listening to a podcast recently, just a couple of days ago, and the woman was talking about things that get in the way when we're practicing, and one of the biggest being restlessness. And that, there are 5 things that typically get in the way. Restlessness often is one of the biggest, that we remove all of the things in our lives that we're distracted with. We kind of enter this zone of silence, and then restlessness sets in, and just, the normalizing of that. But the next thing she said, I just like the way she framed it. She called it urge surfing. So URGE, urge surfing, meaning when we're restless, there are a few things that happen. One of the biggest is we shift our position. And it's sometimes it's because we're uncomfortable, but more often than not, there is a desire to move when we're restless. So there's when you go on retreat, and for anybody who's sat retreats, the teachers will often say, really watch the desire to shift a position, and actually don't, unless you're harming yourself. You have to bring this discriminating wisdom in, if you're cutting off your blood supply, or, of course you have to. But otherwise, really pay attention to, is the desire to move or shift just restlessness? And can I actually feel the restlessness? And that could even be a desire to scratch an itch, to get up. Like if you set a certain amount of time for yourself to meditate, and then you just get up before the time's over, like these are all like signs of restlessness. And so this idea of urge surfing is really interesting, because, what you're doing is you're catching that desire before the shift actually happens. And you're watching that whether or not you shift your position, the desire to shift will go away. Because, so it's sort of like, and I know I've said this before, like, don't scratch an itch. What you want to do is come off your main anchor, allow your attention to go to the itch and receive the physical sensation of the itch. Don't scratch it. And you'll see the transient nature of that itch, that's going to go whether you scratch it or not. It's the same with, Judd Brewer uses this with the quit smoking app, that you're going to have a desire for a cigarette, but you actually, what you want to do is really pay close attention to the desire, to the craving, and whether or not you give in and have the cigarette. Either way, the desire is going to go away because it is of a transient nature. So she was saying, bring that urge surfing, not only when you're formally practicing, but actually bring it out into your daily life, and that's the idea with formal practice anyway, is that you then employ those skills of awareness into your day-to-day life. But I feel like one of the most powerful teachings is this idea of impermanence is in this practice. So we see that every thought, every emotion, every body sensation, it is a law that it will pass. It'll arise, it'll do its thing, and it'll move. So I just wanted to be sure that the urge surfing is not language I've used when I describe this, but I really like it. So I would say, bring that urge surfing into your regular practice and then out into the world as well. And yeah, but I really want to also start with just, questions about open awareness practice, or, any comments you want to make about how this practice was for you. And I don't know, Suzanne, if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, I like your comments about impermanence. I recently was speaking with someone close to me about an issue with a friend, and that feeling of impermanence, where if we're stressed about something or something is you're in a very uncomfortable situation, just picturing that a month from now, you'll look back and see that, and it will not seem as big as it does seem now.
Yes, so true. So true.
And you'll go past it likely during that time.
Yeah.
So it helps us kind of in our bodies say, okay, this feels uncomfortable and really bad now, but I'll get through this.
Right.
Helps you mind so that you can get through it in a skillful way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you think about things in your past that have happened that were such big deals, and you look now and it's like it's gone. And but so for those of you on the call this morning, any questions about open awareness practice? Any thoughts or observations about your own practice, or anything related to urge surfing, or any other questions that anyone might have? We're happy to answer.
Someone just made a comment about impermanence, that she says to herself that this too shall pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the idea too, like Judd talks about riding that wave, that's such a common, so it's like when something is uncomfortable, we tend to we add resistance, but really stepping in and experiencing discomfort, that's really all it is discomfort, and how does it physically manifest in my body? So can I come out of the narrative in my head about it and just physically feel it and watch its nature, which is transient? Yeah.
I was listening to someone speak about, this is also connected to impermanence, but he was talking about the fact that with suffering and the ups and downs of life, and he was describing life like, when you go into chair pose in yoga, and you are in that pose where you're, it's a pose where you kind of pretend that you're sitting in a imaginary chair, and your body is, it's an uncomfortable place, but that that's life. Life is going to give us the chair pose every once in a while and the chair pose is good for us. So,
Yeah.
like these moments of pain or suffering or, ups and downs are our teachers.
Yeah. And over time, I mean, qualitatively, it's easier to actually be with it than to resist it, because the resistance adds just more layers. The resistance adds more to it. That
Yeah. Someone says it's hard to put judgment on things that I become aware of.
It's hard to not put judgment on things that I've become aware of. And then I would say just expand to include judgment. You just keep backing up, judging the judger, like, and then what does that feel like? So that's, you're absolutely on the right path with that. This has been helpful for today. Had a few things happening, overwhelmed. Yeah, having trouble focusing. Oh, good. Resistance equals suffering. Yeah, I mean, you've already got the suffering, and then you add the resistance to it, so you double the suffering. It's and I these are not easy things to work with, but they are profoundly important. So I love these comments. This is part of many years ago what got me into practice was knowing that there will be things happen in life that I wish didn't, knowing that I will want things that I can't have, knowing that things will be changing all the time. These are truths, that we age, our relationships change, the body is vulnerable to illness. Like these are universal truths that we all share and are part of, and there is a way to relate to them with more equanimity and balance. And that's the beauty of this practice, is that we can learn, and it's called a practice, so that we can practice being with and starting with stuff that's not so taxing on us, like a muscle cramp or an itch or and sitting with suffering equals love. yeah
All good thoughts to move us into the end of the week and our weekend. So thank you so much, Tara, for leading us in this practice, and for the community for chiming in and sharing what your thoughts are, because I think it all, there's so many things that people mention that we can all connect with and see in our own practice and our own lives. So it's it's a very good thing to have this community to share with each other. So
yes, yeah. Thank you. I echo that, Suzanne. I really appreciate all of you. And thank you for joining.
Yeah. And just remember that we are here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30. We'll be back on Tuesday. Yeah. So I hope everyone has a good weekend, and continue to practice. It is good for all of us.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you soon. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you again.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the weekend.
Okay.
Stay cool. Bye.